Hello, Disney Coast to Coast YouTube listeners. I just wanted to give you a heads up that Disney Coast to Coast may soon no longer be uploaded to YouTube. Long story short, if you haven't heard, due to recent laws put into place and YouTube cracking down on certain things, it's become less cut and dry as to what kind of content is appropriate for children, and it has affected a lot of content creators using YouTube. Since the majority of the DCTC audience isn't from YouTube, I may stop uploading new Disney Coast to Coast episodes to YouTube at the start of the new season, simply to avoid any hassle with the new rules. I haven't made a firm decision yet, but I wanted to give you a heads up so that you'll be able to begin transferring your listening habits over to a podcast app or website instead. There are many options as to where you can listen to Disney Coast to Coast for free, including Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and many other places. To see them all, simply visit DisneyCoastToCoast.com and click on the FAQ tab. And when you begin listening on that podcast app, be sure to leave the show a 5-star rating and review. It would be greatly appreciated. Now on with the show.
Are you craving a trip on Space Mountain? Well, we've got the next best thing. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePauli, and today on the show I have Jeremy from the Mad Chatters podcast joining me. Hello, Jeremy.
Ho, 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 Jeff DePauli. How are you today?
Ho, 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 indeed. I am good, and I'm excited to have you here because when I had this idea for an episode, Disney's Animal Kingdom for the first year ever is really doing a huge thing for Christmas. I wanted to talk about that with somebody who was going to be able to do it in person. I did it through video online, but also I wanted somebody who loves Disney's Animal Kingdom. And correct me if I'm wrong, it's your favorite Walt Disney World park, right?
It absolutely is. I think Animal Kingdom is not only my favorite Walt Disney World park, I really would put it up there with any of the parks around the world.
Have you been to all the parks around the world?
No, but I would still put it up against them.
All righty. So, haven't experienced it, but you would. All right. I appreciate it. What is it specifically about Disney's Animal Kingdom that really does it for you?
Well, I think the park overall is so cohesive. I think that, you go into any of the other parks and there are elements that are really good, and then there's elements that are not so good. But I just feel like at Animal Kingdom right now, in the present, as we are speaking, they've just done a great job of keeping the park so cohesive from the time you enter the gates to the time that you leave. The theme is felt in every land. Every land is spectacular. And as we're going to see with Christmas, they just keep plussing it more and more.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, and I don't disagree with you, but it's my least favorite in Walt Disney World for simply the reason that they did such a good job that I feel like I'm not in the theme park. You know what I mean? I always say it's really, really tough to impress people when what Imagineers are creating is nature, because we see nature in everyday life. So when they do it right, it shouldn't, quote unquote, impress us. Whereas when you go to a magical land that nobody's ever seen before, it's so much easier to impress. So unfairly, that's probably the reason why it's my least favorite park.
Well, that and you hate nature as well.
No, I don't hate nature. Where did that come from? But I will say, like, the browns and just the earth tones is just not as visually appealing to me. It's the park that if I'm going to get lost in a park, that's the one. And no matter how many times I've been in there, I'm still like, can't get my bearings. And I know that that's part of the design and stuff. And I do love the park, but it would be my least favorite of the four. But they're all spectacular. So it's not like a losing position, if you know what I mean. But I love the fact that you love it. You love it so much. So we want to talk about the holiday offerings this year at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So let's jump into that conversation right now.
It's time to dive into today's Disney Dialogue.
Alrighty, so one of the things that kind of impressed me when I first read about these holiday offerings is that it's in every land of the park. And I don't think that that's always the case when it comes to the Disney parks and the holiday offerings, right? Like, they don't have holiday stuff in Tomorrowland, do they?
Well, they do this year, but I think it's mostly geared towards Mickey's Very Merry Christmas
the party. That's right, for Space Mountain. Yeah, I don't know. I feel, or maybe that's a bad example. Disney's Hollywood Studios is every land. I mean, Galaxy's Edge certainly doesn't. But I don't know. To hear it's in every land at Disney's Animal Kingdom was kind of a surprise to me. I was like, oh, all right, especially with Pandora, and we'll get into that. But I was like, wow, okay, every land is going to have something holiday-ish in it.
Yeah, it's definitely a go big or go home kind of a thing, which I appreciated because in a day and age where we seem to criticize a company for pinching pennies a lot, it would have been easy if they were just like, hey, Dino Land's going to celebrate Christmas this year, and then maybe next year expand upon it. So the fact that they went all out and said the whole park is getting brand new things across the board for Christmas is very bold and exciting.
Yeah, I'm curious why that was. I know that behind Magic Kingdom, Disney's Animal Kingdom is the most attended park at Walt Disney World, so it's not like it was hurting for attendance or anything like that. So I am a little surprised and curious as to why they did it. Because there's always a business reason behind these things. And like you said, like saying, oh, let's just do Dino Land or whatever, would have been what I expected. But it's great that that's not the route they went. They were like, go big or go home, like you said.
Well, there's part of me that wonders if it is to try to take some of the pressure off of Epcot during this time of the year, because Future World at Epcot is a disaster at the moment as far as the construction zone goes. The World Showcase is still functioning and functioning well, and they will have their candlelight processional and storytellers again this year. But I'm wondering if they're trying to say, hey, come check out the Christmas stuff over here to kind of relieve that park.
That's a good theory. I like it. I buy it. I buy that theory. Before we actually enter the park, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Christmas tree for Disney's Animal Kingdom actually outside of the park's entrance? Like, you can actually visit the Disney's Animal Kingdom Christmas tree without a park admission ticket.
That's true. I don't know who would, but you can.
Listen, if you're gonna go resort hopping to check out the decorations and take pictures of all their Christmas trees and gingerbread houses, you might just hop over to Disney's Animal Kingdom while you're going to the lodge.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, yeah. It just seems like it would be a lot of effort to go to parking.
Yeah,
I'm assuming if you don't have park entrance, then you're probably not going to want to pay $25 to park in the lot, but.
I'm thinking you're a guest taking a bus. That's my theory. But in any case, you don't buy it. It's fine. It's fine. You wouldn't do it. But perhaps somebody obsessed with Christmas trees would. They go do the Christmas tree trail at Disney Springs, hop over to the resorts, hop to Disney's. It's just a weird choice to have it not in the park. And my guess is that they initially, when they weren't doing such a large grand scale Christmas thing, maybe they felt, this doesn't really fit in our park. I mean, our icon is the Tree of Life, which let's just talk for a second about how tacky they could make that for Christmas if they really wanted to. Like, they didn't, but they could. But
Thank
maybe
God.
I'm going to assume the thinking was, it doesn't really fit in the park the way that it does for the other parks. So I don't know. I just find it interesting that it's not even in the park, but there is one there.
Well, where would you even put it in the park? Like, there's really no space at all for a tree of that size.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like Disney's Hollywood Studios is kind of in the same predicament. I feel like they found a great place putting it over at Echo Lake now, right? For their Christmas tree?
Yeah, it's in the middle of the lake.
Yeah, now that's only 2 or 3 years they've been doing that, I believe. I think it used to be in a different location, and it was one of those things where it's like not as iconic of a location as some of the other parks.
I think it was outside the gates as well at Hollywood Studios.
Oh, that may be true. I'm not sure, but I love it. I just love what they've done to Echo Lake in general over at Disney's Hollywood Studios for Christmas. I'm all about it. But in any case, we're talking about Disney's Animal Kingdom. So in any case, if you want to see the tree, go before the entrance to the park. Of course, the first land you're going to hit is Discovery Island, where they've really kind of made it a cool little welcome area. So what were your thoughts on Discovery Island?
Well, my first thoughts were the decorations that you see, like the snowflakes that are around. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really cool because they're you can tell they're handcrafted, and they sort of have that, I don't know the right word for this, but I want to say like African-esque sort of feel to it, which is what Discovery Island kind of feels to me.
African-esque?
Is that the right word? Did I make that up? Maybe.
I think you made that up. African-inspired, perhaps?
Okay, yeah, but like handcrafted, they almost look like it's like I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but like wicker sort of feel,
And listen, the entire park feels that way. It's and that's the thing. I was impressed just overall with like it works overall. Like everything felt very, right for the space that it's in, including Dino Land, which we'll get to. But yeah, I would agree. Like and it's even one of those things that in some cases, I'd be like, you could easily walk through this if you're not paying attention and not even realize that it's decorated for Christmas. And I don't know if that's a pro or a con, really. Like, it's a pro in the sense that just means they did a really great job making it fit in, but it's a con in the sense that it's like maybe it's just not as magical or Christmas as you might like. But if you're paying attention, it's like, oh no, it's there, and there's quite a few enhancements.
Yeah, I like it because I love Christmas, don't get me wrong, but a lot of Christmas decorations is very tacky and in your face. So it is kind of nice to have subtle Christmas every now and then.
Yeah. It's cool. Now, the Merry Menagerie animal puppets are a big deal on Discovery Island. They created a bunch of animals: penguins, seals, deer, birds, fox, polar bears, and even have live musicians kind of strolling around with them. And I love these puppets. What did you think of them? Now, you got to see all this stuff in person, which is great. Like I said, I saw it on video, so it's a different experience. But what did you think of them?
Well, before we get past the decorations, I just wanted to say about them.
Yes.
There was an article on abcnews.com that made me love these decorations even more because they said that the snowflakes were designed and created by the artisans at the Augusta Training Shop, which is a nonprofit organization that provides jobs for adults with physical and cognitive disabilities based in Augusta, Georgia. So it's kind of even more beautiful that you see these decorations knowing that they were made by special needs people.
I'm going to assume and hope that Disney made a nice donation to that organization.
I would hope so as well.
Yes. Well, that is cool. They sent
up some Mickey bars and said thanks.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that. I didn't realize that. It's very cool. Anything else about the decorations you want to talk about before we get to those puppets?
That's all. I just wanted to give a little plug for them.
Cool. I like it. So the puppets, what'd you think of them? Because this is kind of the big centerpiece, I would say, of Discovery. Well, at least during the daytime for Discovery Island.
Yes, I was a little skeptical going in, I'm not going to lie, because even like the dinosaurs that you see with the same sort of puppetry, not at Disney, but in other places, or like the Olaf that's on Broadway, which is like one of these style of puppets with a puppeteer visible. It takes a moment to suspend that disbelief. And I think in a show, it really works sometimes, or it really doesn't work. Depending on the puppeteer. So I was wondering and curious how this would translate to interacting with guests on a one-on-one basis. And it really does translate well because they are very large. They're not like the Finding Nemo, the musical puppets, which, are more handheld, at least not, well, I think all of them except the one bird is pretty larger than life kind of a feel. Yeah. But when you walk up, you see the puppeteer and the puppeteer will interact with you, but you can't help but be naturally drawn to the animal, and the movements are very smooth. They've done a great job with it. Yeah, puppetry is a really, really interesting way of connecting with people. And, we all grow up with puppets as kids, whether it's the Muppets or whatever. And we're used to seeing them on a television screen where you do not see a puppeteer. And I remember the first time I mean, The Lion King on Broadway that was kind of a big deal where it's like, oh, we're going to see the performer. Same with Avenue Q on Broadway. In fact, I interviewed a puppet in Avenue Q on Broadway, and I remember having that thought of how this is going to be weird. Like, the performer's going to be sitting with me with a puppet on his arm. This is going to be, I'm telling you, like, within a split second, you don't forget the performer's there, but you don't care about the performer. All you're doing is looking at this puppet, and it's really impressive. And I even just retweeted the other day, there was some Muppet Twitter account had a video of Jim Henson sitting with Kermit, both visible on screen, and Jim's essentially saying, yeah, seeing me here, seeing this bearded man, nobody really cares what he's doing, but I think the frog is much more interesting to look at. And it's like just true. It's 1,000% true that it doesn't matter seeing the puppeteer. And I kind of love that about it. And like you said, it's very obvious that there are puppeteers. They're not trying to hide them in any way, shape, or form. But kids especially
still connect with them in that like magical way. And I don't know, in that way it's kind of more magical than animation to me because it's there in front of you. And oh god, now I'm going off on tangents, but to me it's like the live theater aspect of flying. Have you ever seen a production of Peter Pan?
Not in person, no.
Okay, well, if you've ever seen a show like Peter Pan or anything that has flying in real life, I'm sure you've seen something at a Disney park even, you see the string, right?
For sure.
We just are willing to go with that. And it's more magical than seeing it on a movie screen where you don't see the gimmick being done. So I don't know. There's something really cool about even when you know the secret, it affects you more. And that's kind of just how I feel about these puppets. I think that they're beautiful and handcrafted as well.
Yeah, I never really thought about that, but you brought up a good point about how we sort of have this unspoken relationship with the puppeteer that we see you, but we don't acknowledge you in a sense. Yeah, we still view the puppet as a living thing. Yeah, which is the complete opposite of. I don't want to, dive too much into the sausage making here, but it's the complete opposite of what we do with, character meet and greets in the Disney parks, where that integrity is so preserved. But puppeteering, it's like, it is, but it isn't.
Or even audio animatronic figures. Like, it's just so interesting because we go one extreme or the other, right? It's either we really want every magical thing about this to be hidden so that you have no idea how it's being done, or let's just show it in plain daylight. And both work. And I think that's beautiful. And I like that they both still exist. And I don't know, there's something about puppetry that is just wonderful and incredible. And I love to see them embrace it. Now, this type of puppetry we've been seeing in pop culture for decades now. Like I said, Lion King is the first time I really remember that type of thing. But yeah, it's incredible. I think they're beautiful. I will say physically demanding on these puppeteers because they are hunched over a lot. I don't know if you noticed this, but like these puppets are kind of low to the ground. In a lot of cases, it's a puppeteer hunching over the figure. I hope they have short sets is all I got to say.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of the guests wanting to touch the puppets and that kind of a thing. So I don't know how much of a strain it might be if somebody grabs part of the puppet and it twists the puppeteer into a funny way. So don't do that. Try not to touch them. But the thing I like about these as well is that this to me is bringing a touch of what I hear so much that people love about Disneyland that Walt Disney World doesn't have. And that is the walk around characters that you can just happen to be strolling and see Cinderella, strolling through Fantasyland, which we don't get at Walt Disney World. If you're going to meet Cinderella, you got to go stand in a 40-minute queue. That's just the way it is. But at Animal Kingdom now with these puppets, as well as with Kevin, they just happen to be strolling. There's no set time. There's no queue. There's no stopping necessarily and taking pictures. You can grab a picture really quick, but you got to be kind of stealth about it. So it brings a lot of, this is the word we use a lot on the Mad Chatters, kinetic energy to the area that a lot of the parks lack. Yeah, no, it's great. I did notice there's a lot of low walls in that area for people to sit on. And I got to tell you, if I was a puppeteer, my bear would be hanging out on that wall because it's like, oh, great, I don't have to bend over now. This bear's hanging on the wall. Yeah, I would totally. There's the title for your episode. My bear's hanging out on that wall.
Yeah, there you go. I love the little penguins, especially on their little roller carts being pushed. Oh, they were so cute.
Very cute. And the thing I like about these two is it really kind of inspires you to like, because I looked at them and I was like, I could make these puppets. Like, I mean, I know I can't, but like you see kind of the mechanics behind them and you're like, if I was an 8-year-old kid, I would totally go home and make my own little penguin puppet, and tote it around the house.
Yeah, it totally lends itself to taking like one of your parents' cleaning devices of some sort, like a vacuum cleaner, and rolling a penguin around on it. Yeah, I can totally see that, and I love that. It is interesting that you say it looks like you could make it though, because with this and Lion King and so many of those like handcrafted looking things that you see around, they always look like they're gonna fall apart. And they're made. No, they do though, right? Like they look so handcrafted that you're like, oh gosh, is like tape and gum holding that together? Obviously, they're really well made, but they just always look so fragile. And I don't know. It's interesting to me. But in any case, enough about these puppets. I love them. I think it's a great highlight. Go check out the puppets at the entrance to Disney's Animal Kingdom. Also want to mention, if you want a picture of Mickey and Minnie in their holiday sweaters, that's over at Adventure Outpost, which I believe is in that same area, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of down by the water.
Okay.
If you go across from the Starbucks.
Okay. Which everybody probably knows at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So another big thing that happens in Discovery Island doesn't really happen until the evening, and that's the Tree of Life Awakenings, the Christmas version that they have. And I'm just obsessed with the Awakenings altogether, year round. And I may be seeing this without thinking too hard about it, but I think the map projection done on the Tree of Life is my favorite, because I can't believe it's done as well as it is, because unless that tree just looks very different from a distance, like, there's no flat surface on it. So I don't know how it's just not covered in shadows and stuff, and how they actually get that map projection to work so beautifully. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is a very textured tree. I did not see the Holiday Awakenings. I left before that happened. I have seen it on YouTube, though. I'm a fan of these, but I don't go like all out on the projection things.
In general, you're not a fan of them?
Yeah, in general. I mean, they were cool when they first happened, but now
Totally.
I think they're kind of overdone in the parks.
They're 1,000% overdone in the parks. The thing I like about Awakenings is that it's a happening. You know, it's not something you wait an hour for, like the fireworks or something. It's just they're kind of happening continuously all night long. As you're walking by, it's like, oh, let me catch one. And of course, with the Christmas ones, they've got. And by the way, the Tree of Life Awakenings is doing what Rivers of Light failed to do, in the respect that most of the time with Awakenings, there is zero IP involved. The Christmas versions I saw, there's no IP. It's just animals and Christmas music. It's, they could easily be like, okay, it's going to be Lion King. It's going to be, all these different, and they've done touches of it in the past. But for the most part, it's really about animals and nature and stuff. Yet people still stop and watch. And I think part of that is you don't have to like plan your night around it. It's like, oh, it's going to be happening all night long. I can just go walk by and catch one or two of the shows, and I love that about it. I think it's great.
For most guests, it's like the kiss goodnight, because they'll be walking by the Tree of Life going towards the exit, and it happens to just spark up as they go by, and they're like, oh, hey, we'll stop and watch this for 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I love that about it. And the Christmas versions are lovely and very homey and warmy, and I love it. So,
homey and warmy.
Yeah, doesn't it feel all homey and warmy for you?
It's Christmas, yes.
Yeah. Are you still advocating for Rivers of Light?
No, my Rivers of Light torch has been snuffed with the new version.
Oh, really? This is like Fantasmic 2.0 for you. All right.
I still think there's just enough of the original show in it to make my heart hurt when I see it. But the dumbing down of that show is ridiculous. I'm sorry that your 3-year-old was not entertained by the past Rivers of Light. Something tells me throwing Simba on there isn't going to entertain them either, but whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I know that you were, I think, the only person I knew who actually really enjoyed it. So,
listen, I'm writing my doctoral thesis on Rivers of Light and how it was the most cohesive nighttime show in relation to the overall theme of a Disney park. So you can read it online one day.
Well, I am looking forward to that. Let's hop over to Dinoland USA, which if we're going to go in the complete opposite direction of handcrafted and, natural, we've got the tackiness of Dinoland USA. It's the closest thing Walt Disney World will now get to the Osborne family spectacle of dancing lights. But I mean, it's fitting because let's face it, Dinoland USA is pretty much that year round.
This is my favorite part, my favorite land of the Christmas decorations at Animal Kingdom. And you're 100% right. I feel like Dinoland knows what it is, embraces what it is, and I celebrate that. And I'm hoping that every year this gets more and more tacky and gaudy and over the top.
Yeah, it's a no apologies land at this point. And as much as I hate it, I've grown to kind of... Donald's Dino Bash really transformed it for me.
Agreed.
Which is a ridiculous statement to make. Because It really is. Because I still pictured Joe Rohde walking by and covering his eyes. And I have no idea. Maybe he loves it. Maybe he fully embraces it. But I just feel like it was one of those things like, we need more stuff for kids. Here's $1,000. Go do it. You know, I don't know. It doesn't fit Disney's Animal Kingdom, but it is what it is. I've come to accept it and kind of come to embrace it. And it has Dinosaur, which is one of my favorite attractions.
Well, and the thing I love about this land, and I know it's not a real skeleton, but when you walk into the land, there's that massive brontosaurus. I think it's a brontosaurus or
it's either a brontosaurus or a brachiosaur, one or the other.
Yeah, and it's like a full skeleton, and I know it's not real, but let's just pretend it is for a minute. And during Donald's Dino Bash, they put the Donald hat on top of it, and now that it's Christmas, they have the Santa hat and the beard on it. And I just love to think about this animal that roamed the earth 65 million years ago. And now it is, given the indignity of having to wear a tacky Santa beard. That just sums up the land to me.
I love it. And you forgot to mention the entire skeleton is wrapped in tacky Christmas lights.
And Christmas lights, so it gets lit at night.
Blinking and dancing in lights, and yeah, it's something special. I'll tell you, it's something special, and it sets quite the mood for entering Dinoland USA. Now, in there, of course, there's a lot of character meet and greets with Donald's Dino Bash and Scrooge McDuck. I loved how these areas were decorated based on the characters. So Scrooge McDuck's little area is all gold and gold-colored lights and stuff like that. Very fitting for Scrooge McDuck. Launchpad had he meets in this area with like a very curved low ceiling. And did you see the Christmas tree in there?
I did not.
Oh, it's super cool. So it's a very tall Christmas tree that is way too tall for that space. So it curves with the ceiling. Like it's kind of Seussian in a way. Very, very cool.
Huh.
Yeah, it was fun. So they kept with the theme of the character meet and greets. I didn't see Chip and Dale. They're normally in their adorable dinosaur pajamas, but are they in like Christmas onesies or anything?
They are still in their adorable dinosaur onesies. So yeah, they brought them back out in those onesies, which I mean, it works.
What do you mean brought them back out? Did they go away?
Well, when the Dino Bash ended, they went away. I think
did Dino Bash officially end? I know like elements of it went away, but did they actually end Donald's Dino Bash?
Okay, so I'm not sure if the actual Dino Bash ended. I know a lot of the entertainment for the Dino Bash ended back at the end of like September-ish. Mm-hmm. And I think they were only coming out maybe for like meet or for photos, but like the dance party was ended and a lot of that entertainment was cut. But they brought it back for Christmas.
Okay. One of my favorite Disney's Animal Kingdom memories was meeting them with you.
Yes. I cherish that.
I love them so much. They're so cute. Also, there's this amazing decoration. I'm curious if you saw it. It was on the giant, the Boneyard Dig sign. Did you see this?
Are you talking about the 3 dinosaurs?
Oh, no, those are great. Who are they above, though? They're with, who's meet and greet? They're with one of the meet and greets, and they're on, like, the rooftop.
Yeah. Is it Pluto or Goofy or Donald?
I think it might be Goofy. It might be Goofy.
Okay.
But in any case, on the rooftop, you can explain it since you mentioned it.
Well, it's like, this just reminds me of something my grandmother would have had in her front yard back in the day. So it's one of those... it's got 3 dinosaurs, and it's one of those that lights up, and the dinosaurs look like they're moving based on how the lights blink. And then I don't know, it's just so tacky but nostalgic.
Yep. Tacky is the word, fitting for Dinoland USA. And yeah, it's very primitive animation with the lights flashing in like 3 different stages of movement. So they're wonderful. And they're like dinosaur carolers. And I was like, heck yes, I'm all for this.
And it says roar as well, which I think is great.
because they're singing. Roar, 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 roar. It's wonderful.
That's all I will hear when I see them from now on.
Fantastic. So no, I was talking about the Boneyard Dig sign. So it's a giant bone typically. And on it, they've added a gift tag that says "To Pluto from Donald."
Yes. Okay. I did see that. Yes. That's adorable.
I think that's so cute. I love it. I also noticed some close-up photos showed ornaments on some of the trees with dinosaur footprints on it. And I was like, oh, I want that. I don't know if they're selling them anywhere in the parks, but holy moly, like dino footprint ornaments make me very happy.
Well,
I'm not
I'll
saying steal one. I was just going to say, I'm not going to say steal one for me, but if one happens to end up in a, sweatshirt pocket or something, I won't say
fell off
no.
a truck.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, that was pretty... Dinoland USA is pretty much decorations and meet and greets and stuff, but I heard something about a holiday hoopla dance party, but I couldn't find any video of this. I just, read it in an article. Do you know anything about this, or is it even real?
The only dance party I saw was pretty much what was happening during the Donald's Dino Bash. So I think it's got a few holiday songs thrown in there, but it's the characters out there by the truck having a good time.
Cool. Alrighty. Anything else about Dinoland USA before we move on?
No, but you mentioned the Osborne family lights. I think that this easily could become the new Osborne because they could just keep adding lights to everything. I'm thinking even like Shut Down, Countdown, or
Don't you
World
dare.
And
Dinosaur?
No,
saying...
Primeval World. Sorry, Primeval World.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
And just
knock it down.
Cover that thing in lights and make it look just gaudy and bring out Baby Sinclair again and just let him be around.
Now, how fitting would that be? We should explain. Baby Sinclair from the ABC sitcom Dinosaurs from Jim Henson Company was it was like an Easter egg at the Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights at Disney's Hollywood Studios. What is it, like hanging out in a New York City window of some sort,
He was just in the window, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we gotta go full circle with this. He belongs somewhere in Dinoland USA. He is a dinosaur after all. Come on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Weren't there rumors of dinosaurs coming back for like Disney Plus or something? I feel like there was talk of rejuvenating that series.
I mean, there's been talk about bringing back every TV show that's ever been on television, so maybe, but I think that would be, possible and feasible to do in today's world.
Bring it back from extinction.
Hey-o.
But yeah, I love it. Dinoland USA, keep being your tacky self and know who you are and embrace it. We're going to have like Dinoland Pride one of these days. That's
I'll organize the parade.
Alrighty, let's hop over to Asia now, where they're celebrating Diwali, the holiday festival of lights in India, and most of it's near the Up Bird Show, right?
Yes, and I don't want to be pretentious and correct you on your own show, but
Please.
It's Diwali, I discovered.
Oh, but is it spelled with a W?
It's spelled with a W, but pronounced with a V, apparently.
Okay.
And if that's wrong, send your letters to Jeff DePauli. But yes, so this is like a Hindu celebration. That is the celebration of lights. That's really all I know about it.
And once again, very handcrafted sort of decorations. A lot of, not torches, that's not the right, lanterns, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of that sort of, because when I think Festival of Lights, I think Hanukkah. So that's where my mind defaults to.
And not much else to say, right? They don't have any special entertainment or anything like that.
I think they might mention it during the little Bali dance group that they do out there by the Up show. If you're into that, I saw it once, and it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's just more of an acknowledgement that representation.
I think that they should put little Santa hats on every bird in the bird show.
Wow, that would be impressive.
I think that, I'll tell you what, if they did that, that little area would have a much fuller house. If they're
That's
like,
true.
come see our Santa birds in flight, come on.
I think PETA might have something to say about that.
We're not stapling it to their heads. It'd be very comfortable for the birds. It'd be fine. No worries. Let's hop over to Africa now, where Western traditions share authentic African textiles. And this was kind of cool. A lot of the decorations that I saw were like repurposed bicycle wheels and stuff like that turned into wreaths. And once again, like felt very natural and organic in that area, to the point that if you're not paying attention, you may not notice. But if you do pay attention, a lot of little hidden gems in there.
Yeah, a lot of these decorations have been on display in the past because they are so subtle. So they're, like you said, they're fun little wreaths that are made from repurposed, there's one that's like a license plate that's like a giraffe kind of a feel. So yeah, little stuff like that, again, feel very authentic, but not smack you in the face.
Yeah, now you mentioned something that I hadn't really thought of. So in the past, the one Christmas decoration I can remember seeing at Disney's Animal Kingdom was they put a Santa hat on the dinosaur. They called it like Santasaurus.
Yes.
I remember that. So obviously they had touches of Christmas decoration throughout the park, but how much bigger overall was this, do you feel? Was it really a major plus, or was it just a big marketing push with a little bit of a plus?
I feel like it was a big plus in Dino Land and in Discovery Island.
Okay.
The rest of it was kind of, there was a few more decorations, but it wasn't, again, overwhelming. But you definitely felt the Christmas. Like, it wasn't scarce, where it was scarce in the past.
Now, had Pandora done it in the past? And we'll get to Pandora in a minute, but had they done anything in the past for the holidays?
No, I believe this is the first year, which I think is very interesting in general.
Very much so. In fact, why don't we just hop there, unless you had anything else to say about Africa?
Nope, Africa's there. That's all. That's all.
Africa's there. All right, so let's go to Pandora, the World of Avatar. Which, honestly, when I heard about this announcement of, hey, we're going to be doing the holidays all over Disney's Animal Kingdom, I just thought, like in my head, except Pandora, because number one, it won't make sense. Number two, James Cameron won't allow it. But apparently, it is allowed, and secondly, it does make sense the way that they did it, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's only in the area of Pongu Pongu, correct?
Yeah, because my initial thoughts were, these are alien people who have never been to Earth, don't really know much about Earth customs and religious traditions, and Christmas has its roots in religious celebrations as well as, paganism, when you could kind of back into it with the winter solstice, things that would be completely foreign to the Na'vi. So the fact that they're celebrating the birth of the Savior is kind of strange to me. So I like that they've kind of kept it where only the Earthlings, I guess, for lack of a better word, the humans are...
Yeah, the story is that the expats living and working on the moon of Pandora have rolled out holiday cheer with a display of whimsical holiday decor, pairing vintage pieces from Earth with items handcrafted from Pandora. So within the story, it makes sense.
Yeah, so it's not going to be like the Shaman of Songs is going to be singing Jingle Bells.
I would kill for that, though. Oh, gosh. Dude, Na'vi River Journey holiday overlay? Come on. And the shaman needs to be wearing a Santa hat. That fixes everything.
Yeah, that would be... I don't think James Cameron would like that.
Let me tell you, if I were one of the animatronic figure puppeteers or programmers, I think I'd have some fun during the programming process, like before the official... I'd like bring in some Shawn Mendes albums and have the shaman singing those. Like, I'd have some fun. But yeah, no, as much as it wouldn't make sense, that'd be incredible to see a holiday overlay of Na'vi River Journey.
Maybe just once. We would hate it, but maybe just once.
Yeah, I would hate everything about it and love everything about it all at the same time. As long as they get the same singer to come back and perform the holiday carols. Yes.
Agreed.
Well, they didn't do that. Now it's much less exciting. But please continue.
Well, they decorated. I forget what those suits are called, but what's the big suit?
Oh, the big robotic suit that the humans sit in and navigate around in. Yeah.
Yeah, they decorated one of those to kind of have a Santa-esque appearance. Which, when I saw a picture of it, I thought it looked terrible, but in person, it actually looks really good.
Yeah, once again, very handcrafted. It looked like the beard was made of intertwined cloth or braided cloth rather. And yeah, it looked, appropriate to the land that we're in. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it looks like something that if you were a part of this company and you were on this alien planet and you wanted to make a Christmas decor, you would use what's lying around and make it. So that's what I like about it.
Totally. And even in the garland, there are things like, the garland is made of kind of little artifacts and remnants. So you'll see a badge, the Alpha Centauri Expedition badges hanging as part of the garland, or just winter gloves and very handcrafted type of scraps and stuff. And, it makes sense. I really appreciate what they did there. And at first I was like, how dare they? but yeah, no, it just makes sense.
Yeah, and then they also have like the little gingerbread-looking Pandora creatures.
Where are they displayed?
I think they're in the garland as well.
Okay, yes. I remember now.
Yeah,
a lot of little they look like gingerbread cookies and stuff like that, or tin with holes carved into it. Just very handcrafted. It was cool. Did you catch the Navi Nutcracker?
Oh, I didn't.
There is a nutcracker. It's kind of a little hidden thing, and it looks like a Navi. And it's, from what I understand, near the Pongu Pongu sign. So next time you're in the land, check it out.
Yeah, I'll have to go check that out. Huh.
I'm not particularly a nutcracker fan, but I was like, that's kind of cool. Nor am I a Pandora fan. So the fact that they made me interested in it was impressive on their part. But yeah, I was like, I love that little Easter egg in there.
For sure. And again, this is a land where they could have easily gone over the top, but they kept it kind of subtle. If you want to go experience Pandora and not really immerse yourself in any Christmas stuff, that's kind of possible as well. But if you go there and you're specifically open to it and looking for it, it's there.
Yeah. Now, as we said, I was really surprised to hear that Pandora was being done. I think you said you were as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Pandora, the World of Avatar, can have a holiday overlay, big question, can Galaxy's Edge have a holiday overlay? And I know they've got the holiday special, so I guess that might justify it, but I don't know. Because I was just like, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge can't have decorations. And interestingly enough, I actually did a Twitter poll on this a while back, and most people want to see Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with a holiday overlay. How would you feel about that?
Well, coming at it from a corporate sort of perspective, from what I understand, Lucasfilm does not want to acknowledge the holiday special, ever.
True, but also Jon Favreau is apparently in discussions of creating, or has said he's interested in creating a Star Wars holiday special.
Okay, if they did that, then maybe, the sins of the past might be forgiven. But assuming he doesn't, I don't think that they want to tread in that way, because they don't want to remind people of the holiday special. Not that we've forgotten it, but I
am pretty sure most people who say they hate it haven't seen it. Don't get me wrong, it's horrible. I have seen it, and I can't watch it in one sitting because it's so bad.
I watched it last year for the first time, from start to finish.
I mean, horrible, right?
It took me almost 3 weeks, because I would turn it on, because it's on YouTube, you can find it, but I would only be able to watch 10 minutes, and I got either bored or just the whole Chewbacca at home with his family, and they
Life Day.
It's awful.
Well, the entire movie or not the entire movie, but any scenes with, Chewbacca and his family is, and it's like, whoa, I just got to read the whole time.
And it's not like it's 3 minutes. It's a 20-minute segment.
It's awkward. Awkward is a good word to describe. But hey, you would get your B. Arthur moment in Oga's if they did a holiday overlay.
That would be what I would want the most, because I think they could really do that part well and kind of revive that character, even though, our dearly departed B won't be involved anymore. Maybe a little nod to her at some point. But I think a Life Day overlay of Galaxy's Edge would be kind of cool. Or, we're at the Galaxy's Edge, and we are visiting the Galaxy's Edge, so they could almost do what they've done at Pandora, where people from Earth are bringing some of their Christmas traditions there and subtly put them in, but maybe in this sort of comedic way, they're messing them up as well. Yeah.
The problem is they don't know of Christmas, right? I think on those planets, so it would have to be a Life Day sort of thing. So, let's go off on a further tangent for a second here. Can you see fireworks at all from Galaxy's Edge in Disney's Hollywood Studios?
I've never been in there during fireworks, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, at Disneyland, you very much can, and what I'm really hoping for, they're not going to do it, but I would love, I mean, the whole little Ewok, fireworks party at the end of one of the films. I think it's Return of the Jedi. And I could be wrong about that. Don't write me if I'm wrong about which film it was. But there's this whole fireworks party celebration thing. I would love for them to create a fireworks show for the park, but also have a different version where it's the same pyro and stuff that you're seeing, but like have it different music and just have it timed well so that it makes sense in both cases, and do a whole like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Ewok celebration sort of thing. That would rock my world. That's
an interesting perspective that I could totally see them doing, because you're saving money on fireworks because it's the same fireworks just with two different experiences. So you're getting your guests back at least twice.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I would love to see something like that happen. Problem is we're getting less and less pyro here at Disneyland. I don't know if you've seen, but like, not right now with the holidays, but during the normal times of year, the pyro only gets shot off on weekends, which I really, really hate. And then even with the shows returning, like it's less pyro than it used to be. So
do you think that's because of the city around it, or?
I think it's mostly a budget choice thing. I think we've seen, even in Florida, we've seen the company decide, hey, map projection is dazzling and cheaper. Once it's paid for, it's paid for, except for changing a light bulb and repairing a projector, as opposed to there's some crazy statistics, like it's like $10,000 or $20,000 worth of pyro shut off every night at Magic Kingdom or something crazy like that. And
I believe that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're saving a ton of money if your focus is on projections versus pyrotechnics. To me, it's unfortunate because I love pyrotechnics, but it is the reality of the direction that the company seems to be going. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever see my Ewok celebration happen in Galaxy's Edge, but I think there's an opportunity there for you Imagineers listening.
You're going to go far in this company, DePaul, with thinking like that.
Jump on it. Anyway, let's hop back to Disney's Animal Kingdom real quickly. I'm curious how much of the area music around the park was changed to Christmas. I noticed Dinoland USA definitely had Christmas music. I noticed Discovery Island definitely did, in a very, not orchestral, but acoustic and unplugged way, which I loved. And as I mentioned briefly, they had live musicians kind of going around with the puppeteers, right?
Correct. Yeah, there is live music, and I if I remember correctly, some of the live music that's happening in Africa was also, there's Christmas themes mixed in, but it wasn't all Christmas. But I don't recall. I think the music in Asia and the background in Africa and in Pandora is still the same. It hasn't been changed to any specific Christmas themes.
Question about those live performers on Discovery Island. Now, are they just playing along with what's being played through the speakers, or is it kind of like a cacophony of noise where they're doing?
No, I think that in that area the speakers are turned off when they're playing. So it's almost like like the Dapper Dans on Main Street. How they kind of take over the speaker in that space.
You know what I think would be cool is if they left the music on in that space, because this was not like a huge group of musicians. It was like individuals. You'd see a violinist in one area and then like maybe guitarist somewhere else, but they weren't playing together. So what I think would be cool is if they left the piped in music on and then the musicians are playing along with that recording. I can see that. Kind of like as a little plus to the pre-recorded music. I don't know. I feel like that would be cool. But either way, it's cool. I love to see live musicians in the parks. I love to see them employed. So yay, bravo for that. Because let's face it, that could have been the first thing cut. Like if there was a budget thing, it'd be like, okay, we're keeping the puppets, get rid of the musicians. So I love that they're there at least for the holidays. That's wonderful.
Very true. Yeah, it kind of gives a very to me, it felt like a Renaissance fair, like a minstrel Renaissance fair kind of feel.
Yeah, I can see that. Cool. Fantastic. That's it for the holidays. I do want to touch on New Year's Eve, what's going on at Disney's Animal Kingdom, but is there anything you want to add before I jump there?
No, sir. Let's talk New Year's.
Okay, New Year's Eve, they are for the first time ever doing a New Year's Eve celebration at Disney's Animal Kingdom. It will be open until midnight on New Year's Eve, and there will of course be New Year's Eve themed food and drinks, while DJs in Asia, Discovery Island, and Dinoland USA will keep the party pumping. And then as midnight approaches, everyone can gather around Discovery Island and Asia to watch a special New Year's Eve countdown on the iconic Tree of Life. And guess what else? Special pin trading opportunities, plus a limited edition New Year's Eve pin available beginning that evening. So I don't know. Are you considering, if you're free and not working, considering Animal Kingdom for your New Year's Eve celebration?
Probably not, because I don't mind crowds, but I have my limits, and I have a feeling this is going to be like a very crowded experience. But I think it's interesting that they're choosing to do this because Animal Kingdom doesn't have pyro because of the animals. Mm-hmm. So it says lights. So I wonder, when I think New Year's, I think of the, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, 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 boom. Everybody's crazy. So you're going to have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and maybe everybody's going to go crazy without the boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I'm sure, through lights and projection and, audio, they'll do something cool. But yeah, they're not going to have explosives. And if I had to guess, now I did recently hear that it has been confirmed that the new Nighttime Spectacular at Epcot, Epcot Forever, is not having a holiday tag this year. And so my guess is they're probably not having a New Year's Eve. I could be totally wrong about that. But normally, like, Epcot is one of the major parks to go. It's like Epcot or Magic Kingdom for New Year's Eve. And if Epcot doesn't end up doing a New Year's Eve tag to their Epcot Forever, they may be trying to get people to Disney's Animal Kingdom instead. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what they decide.
Yeah, I can't see them just cutting out Epcot New Year's Eve, because that's become such a tradition for a lot of people.
Yeah, the reason I say that is just because there's not a holiday tag. So I kind of felt like the New Year's Eve tag was kind of part of that holiday tag, but I don't know. We'll see. Like you said, they might be trying to keep people out of Epcot. I mean, if the entrance and exit is a nightmare right now, the last thing you want are New Year's Eve crowds.
That's true. Have you seen pictures of Epcot currently with the construction?
No, I hear like the main entrance is kind of closed at this point, and you have to walk around, or am I wrong?
Yeah, the main entrance is open, but it's like they're removing a lot of those Leave a Legacy, or they're removing all of them. So they've removed one half, and now they're removing the other half. Okay. But then once you get past Spaceship Earth to where the Fountain of Nations was, not is, that is a complete wall, except for a very slim walking path off to the side. Almost you got to hug mouse gears to go around it.
Just hearing all this reminds me of the Disney California Adventure 2.0 construction. And all I'll say about that is that DCA is a much smaller park than Epcot. So if we survived it here, I have faith that Epcot will be able to handle it. But, we didn't get a lot of special programming at DCA during those construction times because handling crowds is difficult, and when you've got narrow pathways and walking backstage essentially and stuff like that. So
we're grateful for your faith, and we appreciate your prayers during this difficult time.
Yes, of course. Speaking of backstage, by the way, I was recently backstage at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, and guess who's hanging out back there?
I have no idea.
Some characters that a lot of people might be happy to hear are still hanging around at Disney California Adventure. The It's Tough to Be a Bug statues.
Really?
They're chilling backstage in different areas. You got Hopper and a lot of them. Like all the little statues you used to see in the entrance to the land, they're there. And I was like, that's great. I was not expecting that. I thought they probably were all shipped up to Pixar or something like that. But
yeah, it makes you wonder what they're hanging around for.
Yeah, they're still hanging at the resort. They're literally on display. It's not like they're in storage or anything. Like they're out there just for cast members to enjoy as they drive by and stuff. So
cool.
Yeah, I just love the fact that they're still there. I was like, Hopper, because that's a great statue. In any case, so that's the happenings at Disney's Animal Kingdom, plus a little bit of extra information going on for the holidays and New Year's Eve. I think that's going to do it for that. So I think that means it's trivia time. All right, Jeremy, do you want to hit me with a trivia question first, or shall I hit you?
Well, let me hit you first. So back in the day, up until just a few years ago, at Christmas time at Disney's Animal Kingdom, there was a special parade called Mickey's Jingle Parade, which was just a Christmas twist on the daytime parade that happened all year long. And so my question to you is, in that Christmas themed parade, which Disney character was dressed as Santa?
Ooh. Is it one of the obvious ones, like a Fab Five type of thing, or is it like really out there?
No, it's an obvious one.
Okay. Dressed as Santa. Well, I feel like Goofy as Santa is Magic Kingdom kind of feeling. I'm going to assume it's... I'm going to say, although I've never seen this costume before, I'm going to say Donald.
Incorrect. It was Goofy. It was
Was it Goofy? Okay.
as well. Yeah.
I thought that was a little bit too generic to be the answer, just because I've seen Santa Goofy a billion times.
That's true. But I love that parade. I miss that parade.
Why is there no longer a parade at Disney's Animal Kingdom?
I have heard through the grapevine that it is the logistics of when Pandora was built. They no longer had access for the parade floats backstage.
Okay, let's fix that. And for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, let's add a parade back in, please.
Yeah, they could bring back Jingle Jammin' or Jam and Jingle. I never could say it right.
I don't even need a new parade. I don't know if I've ever sat and watched a parade. I must have at some point, but even a cavalcade or something. I feel like, we need that.
And they had a lot of the, not like the small puppets that they have now, but they had a lot of those bigger animal puppets that were like on wheels and one puppeteer with them. It's really cool. You should look that parade up if you've never seen it.
Yeah, interesting. Well, my trivia question for you is not specifically Disney's Animal Kingdom related, but it's about animals, so what the heck. Which Walt Disney animated feature that stars animals begins on Christmas Eve? Perhaps Christmas Day, but I'm pretty sure it's Christmas Eve as it's dark outside.
Okay. So I believe it is Lady and the Tramp.
Ding, 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 ding. You are correct.
Because she is given Lady as a gift, correct? In a hat box.
In a hat box, yes. Very good. And you know that was inspired by a true life moment for Walt Disney. I believe he did that for his wife. Yeah, Lillian. Yeah, I remember that from one of the Walt Disney documentaries. Yeah, speaking of documentaries, how have you been enjoying the Imagineering story?
Love it. I cry every episode at least once.
the first one really it's so funny. Whenever you have people talking about Walt's passing, especially the people that knew him, gosh, I just can't keep myself together. And I'm like, this is so pathetic. Like, I know how it ends. It's all right. But
very, very bold of them to kill off the main character in the first episode. But
very true. No, it's great, though. I love it. I know you love documentaries, so that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on the show to talk about Disney's Animal Kingdom holiday options. Why don't you let the folks know where they can hear more of your work?
Absolutely. So I am one half of the Mad Chatters, along with my best friend, Derek. You can find us, the Mad Chatters, wherever fine podcasts are downloaded, as well as on Twitter at Mad Chatters and on Instagram at Mad Chatters and on Facebook, Mad Chatters. So we're on all the socials.
Excellent. And folks, don't forget that the 2020 Disney Coast to Coast calendar is now available for purchase over at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. You can choose between a wall calendar to hang and display or a desk calendar, which comes in a case for easy display on your desktop. Either way, you'll be getting a bit of Disney magic to enjoy throughout the entire year. In addition, celebrate the openings of the Disney theme parks as each one's anniversary is notated on the calendar. It is now December and time is running out, so head over to DisneyCoastToCoast.com and order yours now for yourself or perhaps as a holiday gift for a loved one. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com.